Most people get comfortable. They stop growing, they stop working on themselves, they stop stretching, they stop pushing themselves, and they end up becoming very cynical about life, and they throw in the towel on themselves.
I want to welcome you guys back to the 24 Karat Black YouTube channel. Of course, I'm your man, one half of the brand, Abe.
I'm cool, KL.
And we got some shit. We got some stuff we're going to talk about today. What we talking about today, man?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the culture.
What culture?
Our culture.
Our
Black culture. But no, that's a good question, though. What culture?
Yeah.
Like, we hear do it for the culture all the time, but what does that mean? Because when you think about who we are, we just identify as Black,
Right.
African American.
Sometimes we don't even know what to identify as.
We don't. Like, you lighter than me.
Yeah.
So your people, your ancestors probably lived in a house.
Right. No. I don't know house nigga. No.
I was probably a field nigga. Well, my ancestors were.
Right. Yeah. Ancestors, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I do know that.
But what does that mean
when
people say do it for the culture? What is our culture?
That's
just a question. That's what this particular episode derives from. Us trying to figure out what does that even mean.
Right.
Because if you don't know who you are, then what is your culture?
Right. Yeah. And how do you navigate with a sense of pride and I guess acceptance in Black America when I think, from my opinion, we're kind of being we are kind of drawn to whatever can garner our attention or attract us in terms of like the culture.
Think about it. I mean, from the beginning, we was force fed.
Yeah.
What we now consider our culture.
Right.
We don't know what we worshipped in Africa. We don't know what we did. You know what I mean?
We don't even know what our last name started for the most part from our slave owners.
Right.
So from that,
from the minute they were picked up from ships,
right,
the many that died, the many that were executed before they even got here, maybe that could have been part of my family.
Right.
Could have been part of your family.
Right.
So if they didn't make it, and then a few of those people died, you know what I mean? How can you even trace your lineage?
Yeah.
And that's the difference between like maybe me, you, and a coworker who's white who can say, my father's from Ireland, or my grandfather's from Ireland. I can go back and visit family there, and I can meet them. They can tell me all about what life was like growing up in Ireland.
Right.
Like they don't have to guess, they don't have to assume. They can trace their roots just by talking to a family member.
Absolutely.
Where that's not that simple for us.
Right.
So.
And that's where it becomes tricky and it becomes trivial for the most part. I've had like a subscription to Ancestry, and it did nothing for me because I was able to only go back so far, and then it started labeling us as male field hand or boy or girl or
3/5.
Yeah, 3/5. It was hard. It's like and they'd be in the household with the slave master,
right? Which is where our name, the last name.
Yeah, so it's like the culture. So, and this is a good question for you guys. I know we have hip hop as a culture. There's things that we have created within like the culture of America. But what do you guys identify with? African American has always been fine with me. Being Black, either one works for me. I think that it's really important that we get more in tune with our culture and figuring out what that is and just working through it just so we can have, I think that'll help us as a family too. As a people.
You and I were just talking off air before we start filming was we have children and our children, like my oldest daughter who's 12, she views segregation and slavery in one vein because it was so far, before she was born. Yet her grandparent who's still alive, lived through segregation. You know what I mean? Well, desegregation and segregation.
Right, yeah.
And so a part of that, that's part of our culture.
Yep.
But it gets missed, right? in this country, it's more so never forget 9/11, never forget the Boston bombings.
Right. Oklahoma City bombing.
Right.
And those are rightfully so. They were tragedies.
No, they were. But there were also tragedies that happened before that, like
Absolutely.
slavery.
Yeah. The biggest tragedy of all, by the way.
That is the biggest sore of this country.
Country.
You never hear, never forget it. You know what I mean? And so...
And can we get an apology, too? Just side note. Like, I've never had a real... I've never seen it. Maybe if somebody could point me in direction, like a YouTube video or a hashtag or something where somebody apologized, but that'd be cool. Episode. Yeah.
But you touch on something where, because that happened within this country, to this country, it's sort of like it's a sore, it's a stain, we want to forget it. But if we can say, think about it. The people who the guy that went into the church, the black church.
Oh, yeah.
In Charleston, right? Charleston 9, I think.
Yep.
I can't
Charleston 9, yeah.
But see, that's another thing. I should know that.
Yeah.
But the reason why we don't put emphasis on it, don't talk about it, because the guy who did it was from this soil. We don't call him a terrorist.
And it's a microwave society. They basically give us the stuff, and once it's in the news, and it's done.
Right, but again, that's not to get too sidetracked. But again, that still points to the emphasis of how important it is for us to know our own culture and push the agenda at home. We know now at school they're not going to talk. They may talk about slavery, but not to the extent. We're going to talk about the forefathers.
Yeah,
we're going to get into the country, the wars, but we don't get into the specifics of slavery.
Right.
How slavery in itself disenfranchised a group of people and gave another group of people basically a 400-year head start.
Pretty much, yeah.
And so, who are we?
Right.
What is our culture?
Who are we? And we need to keep this dialogue going. I think I touched on it in a previous video. Let's not feel ashamed for trying to connect with our past.
Right.
There's a power source there that we need to continuously tap into. That is a constant stream of just what we need in terms of energy and pride and all that stuff to connect these dots. So me and KL, I mean, we have a clothing line called 24 Karat Black, but we're still steadily trying to identify exactly what black culture is. And again, it's a melting pot of things. I understand. Like, my background is, I think
Caucasian.
Nah, dead ass. My great, I think it was my third great grandmother was raped by a slave master. So,
but the thing is, that's not even far-fetched.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a horrific in itself.
Right,
I need to know, and just for me to not even think about that stuff or say that it was so far in the past, that's like spitting on her grave, if you will. I cannot forget those things. Now, I'm not holding this against white America. I love white people. I love Caucasian. I love everybody. Like 24 Karat Black is a brand that includes everybody, but unfortunately, our history is rooted in those pains, and I can't, and my people suffer, and I can't allow.
That question. Bill Cosby, did he do it?
Did he do it? That's a good question. And then you know what? It's a good. I'm glad you brought that
up.
Listen,
I'm about to say this though.
Yeah. But let me do it before you say that.
No.
All right, go.
No.
Did my man do it? Now I'm gonna say this.
So look how far. If he did it, right in jail, man. I grew up on him. That was my father figure for a long time. If he did it, you got to do time.
You got to do time.
But since we're going back in time and convicted him for stuff that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago, can we go back and get some of these slave owners?
Bruh. We should.
For raping our women?
We should, and I'm going to say, it ain't even that. I'm going to tell you, the previous video, Fire in the Canebrake, the individuals in Monroe, Georgia, this is actually Monroe, Georgia, Walton County, even though this happened many years ago, about 73 years ago, they're saying that there's still some people possibly alive. Old, but possibly alive, and they closed the case as of January of this year. They closed it. But there was an ongoing investigation. But the people are closed-lipped there. They don't talk about it, and because it's mostly a Caucasian area. But so yes, you kill people, you rape people, you do these horrendous things to people. Somebody needs to answer for it. And then we don't even have to go back to slavery. It's a lot of the things that are going on today that people are still getting off with, and that's just a disgrace to our culture.
And it's just still, again, it's a stain to our country. But
here's another thing I wanted to say. If we were able to identify ourselves as a culture, there would then follow rules, principles, laws, morals, all of these things within our culture that are like gravity that will allow us to move forward with a better understanding. Because I feel like, and with a stronger message,
even with health, people who come from certain climates and come from certain environments genetically are predisposed to certain things.
Absolutely.
And they're privy to it because they know my great-great-great-grandfather had this, and it passed on to him, and now I have it.
Right.
Those are other things that we don't.
We're just disconnected.
There's certain diseases that black people are prone to get over white people. Why is that? Is it because of things that started once they got to America? Or was it things that happened in Africa that they were genetically predisposed to? But they knew about it because it happened in Africa.
Right.
What happens is when you bring a group of people here, they get treated for, who knows?
Right.
The problem, I guess my main point is, Ricky, touching on what you were just speaking about, was if we know who we are as a people, then we can probably then begin to really understand everything else about us instead of taking what we were force-fed and becoming that.
Right.
You think, I guess obviously post-slavery, black people having rights. We started dyeing our hair. We started putting perms in it to be slick.
Right.
Everything was made to look like the European, the white person. That's not us. I'm gonna say maybe the last 5-10 years we've now starting to see the whole natural hair thing.
Afrocentric
it's
type of explosion.
Embrace yourself.
Yeah, embrace yourself. Be proud to be.
But that's the gist of it.
That's the evolution of it. But we're not there yet. There's a lot of things too I wanted to talk about, kind of to piggyback off of what you just said. Most black people are lactose intolerant.
Right.
We're predisposed to high blood pressure. There was a
If I'm not mistaken, I think maybe even Alzheimer's and
wow.
What is it? I'll just keep going. I'll come back to it. But there's plenty of diseases that we are known to get more than any other race.
Yeah, man. There was a sick, and I don't know how true this is, but there was a sick theory.
Lupus.
Oh, lupus. Okay, yeah, I heard that. There was a sick theory, and again, I don't know how true this is, but if anyone's out there, you could talk about it or let us know. But I was told that one of the reasons that black people are so sensitive to salt, we can't eat a lot of salt, is because for 400 years that was a lot of the water we drank. And it was this ocean water.
That can very well be the case.
And
that can very well
400 years that we're traveling across the Atlantic, we're drinking salt water. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, God, that's crazy.
Yeah, but also too, you think about also a theory. We genetically predisposed to high blood pressure because of the crap they were forced to eat, right? So we make these nice meals from shit, basically. Intestines, chitlins. And they season them. They have to do whatever they have to do to them. But the main thing, everything that we have is known to be flavorful.
Absolutely.
Seasoning is usually just some form of salt.
Some form of salt, yeah. In fact, we probably would stand outside. There was another way to preserve it, possibly. You know what I mean? Because salt preserve, how they hang the meat and dry it with the salt.
Well, no, but those are all theories of things to show,
And if we were more connected, and understood our culture a little bit more, then we would be able to kind of, as one, study these things, discover these things, and embrace and internalize these things, and be able to apply it to our lives and subtract and attract things that, we would, that we can use.
Yeah, so basically the topic is culture. What are we? I mean, think about it. This is something that you might just, a question you pose to yourself. Right. You can go do the ancestry stuff online, but it's still a thing. Like, who are we? Who are you?
Talk to your family members. Talk to your
definitely talk to your kids. Yeah. It's too much of our history, at least the stuff that we know. It's not in textbooks, and the longer, every year to go by, we lose another year. Just giving that exposure to the kids growing up.
And talk to your grandparents too.
Oh,
because
especially grandparents.
And if you're blessed to have great grandparents, talk to them because they're a wealth of information. And just ask questions. Just go and ask questions.
They give you the information that textbooks won't and can't. Because a white man writing a book about slavery, it's going to be a different perspective as a black person telling their story about slavery. So, definitely ask your grandparent. That's a great source of information.
And wisdom, yeah.
But yeah, that's I think that'll do it.
Thank you guys for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to do all the good stuff, man. We need y'all more active. We need y'all more active with the YouTube channel.
Yeah. You like this?
I love that, man. Vibranium.
Yeah.
That's dope.
You can get this.
Yeah, it'll be on the site ASAP. Yeah. So, man. Thank you for growing with us, watching this episode, and until next time.